Well, hello, my name is Jason Tiedick and I help people deliver amazing presentations. And today I'm going to show you how to command confidence and credibility under any circumstances when you give your presentations. Now, before I start, I'd like to know what you think. I was actually at a conference the other day and it was about 300 people in this session. And it was a pretty good session. In fact, the people in the back, I was sitting in the back myself, and when it finished, 3 or 4 people started walking out, and I was walking out with them, and they looked at each other, and one of them said, "That was amazing. That presentation was unbelievable." I want you to take a moment, and I want you, with 3 people around you, to write down in your books. You have a place to write this. I'll give you a page number as well. It's on page 9. I want you to take a look at page 9, and I want you to just take 5 minutes and write down, what do you think made that presentation so amazing? And I want you to zero in on 2 things. Amazing presenters do lots of things, but the thing we're going to focus on today is that they have this confidence that they show, even if they're not confident inside, and they have this credibility that just makes you want to keep listening to them. Why? There's a lot of experts in this room. Let's tap that expertise right now and find out. I want you to do the following. One person who doesn't like to talk much, you can be the writer or the timekeeper. Someone else, the facilitator, you run the ship. We also need a relayer to tell us what you came up with. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to come up with at least 5 and hopefully 10 things as a group that you think makes an amazing, not just okay, amazing, confident, incredible presentation. 5 minutes. You're about to get some free market research from your peers. You're about to find out what your peers think make you awesome. So let's hear it. Relayers, shout it out. What do you got?
Enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm. Make a note. You cannot fake enthusiasm. Can't fake sincerity, and you can't fake a smile. So if you're going to be enthusiastic, you can't hope that you're going to be. You actually have to be. Today I'm going to teach you how to do that. Yes? Eye contact. If you have less than 30 people in the room, which we do, you want to make eye contact with everyone in the room once a minute. Oh, this changes everything for some of you. If you have more than 30 people in the room, say 300, you want to make eye contact with every section of the room, and there are 9 of them in an amphitheater, Coliseum. You want to look at each section for 3 seconds once a minute.
Is that one person within each section?
You could just look at the one person, because when it's that big, they can't tell where you are anymore, so that's fine. Others.
Tone and inflection in your voice.
Tone and inflection of your voice. I'm going to write down voice, and then we're going to write down 3 things. There are 3 things that you can change your voice with. There's your volume, your pace, and your inflections. Notice she said tone and inflections of your voice. Tone I'm going to call the same thing as voice, but there's 3 parts to this voice. Volume, pace, and inflections. The most effective speaking pace is between 150 and 180 words a minute. Right now I'm speaking around 168. I have recorded myself so many times and transcribed those recordings, I can tell you I'm around 168. Tony Robbins, one of the best speakers in the world, is usually averages around 204. When I really want to engage, I might pop it up that much, especially in the afternoon. But when you slow down your voice, what starts to happen? Sounds like it's really important, doesn't it? Today you're going to learn from me how to change each one of those things for maximum effect. Albert Mehrabian suggests that 55% of communication comes from your body language and facial expressions, 38% from your tone of voice, and 7% from the words you say. While most communication experts would agree that his research is not that reliable because he's back in the 50s and 60s and he didn't have as many subjects as you would want to make it reliable, what they would all agree on is that it's not just what you say. Even the old wives' tale says this, it's what? How you say it. And the most effective leaders that I have ever met all would agree with this too. If you really want to make an impression on your customers, go talk to them. If you want to make a second as good of impression, call them up on the phone, and the last thing you want to do is send them an email, because those can get misinterpreted. Why? Because according to Moravian, 93% isn't even the words at all. What else you got?
Capturing the audience's attention when keeping the audience interested by using humor or
So, good. She gave a lot of information there. First, she said is engage and captivate them, capture them. She said you can do this with humor, and she said real life examples. Now, I want you to know something. There are 4 different kinds of presenters in this world. There are fascinators. My brother is one of those. He's in the back of the room videotaping this. There are inspirers like me. There are performers like Tony Robbins. And there's energizers like Sir Ken Robinson, the #1 TED speaker on the internet right now. You need to figure out which one you are. And today I'm going to teach you which one you are. What else?
Knowledgeable in the content so that you can be charismatic about how you present it.
Knowledgeable in content. Right down next to this one. Knowledgeable, write down the numbers 90-10. What percent of your brain do you think should be focused on the audience versus the content? 90 or 10? 90 on what? On the audience. Oh, that means you need to know your content so well that almost all your neurons up here are focused on the people. For some of you, this is your game changer. Did you notice, by the way, what did my volume do when I said that last sentence? It went down a little bit. It almost sounded like a what? A secret. See how volume can be so powerful? What else you got? Mm-hmm.
I think in how you respond to questions, whether they're good and irrelevant.
Answering questions. You know, the best baseball pitchers in the world right now, I've been watching baseball quite a bit because the playoffs and other things are important and interesting to me. And when you look at a baseball pitcher, the #1 thing they need to do is not let the pitcher know what's or not let the batter know what's coming. And if you look at the best hitters in baseball, they can sometimes use one little thing on that pitcher's body language to determine if it's going to be a fastball or a curveball or a changeup. Well, audiences of presenters are the same way. They know most of the time if you know the answer or not by things you give away, unless you have what I call the poker face and you're genuine about this. And I'm going to teach you that as well today. Answering questions. But the key is this. You want to meet people's needs regardless of whether you know the answer or not. It's not whether you know the answer or not, it's whether you meet their needs. It's not whether you're nervous or not, it's whether you show it. It's not whether you're confident or not, it's whether you show it. Write this down. It's not about you. It's about your what? It's about your audience. It's about them. Others. What makes a confident, credible presentation? Not apologizing. Got it. She said, not drawing negative attention over and over again. There are a number of words that you should stay away from up here, like the plague. And when I say up here, I mean in a meeting with your coworkers, I mean in front of 5,000 people, in front of 30 people, in one-on-one when you're working with somebody. I'm going to show you all of the words that I have found through 20 years of research that are negative, and I'm going to teach you today how to get rid of them all so that you always look positive, almost always look positive in front of people. By the way, that's one of the controlling words, the word always. What happens when you say always to somebody in a meeting? Or never? That'll never happen. What do they usually do? They'll try to prove you wrong, and they'll usually be able to do it. Notice I just said usually instead of always be able to do it. And you always want, oh, what should I have done? You almost always want to qualify it so that you don't get as many exceptions to what you're saying. I'll take two more things that make a confident and credible presentation. Use the room. So she said, use the room and walk around. And this is very helpful in training environments and in presentation environments. I'm going to suggest that stillness is one of your most powerful methods to use the room. One person came up to me after a presentation and said, Jason, I noticed that you really meant business when you used your hands because you didn't use them very often. But when you did, I realized it was really powerful. You ever seen those presenters that do this all the time and they're just constantly doing this, and pretty soon you just start to say, oh yeah, nothing he says really is making a point because he's always doing this. He's always making his point. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It's like crying wolf. But if my hands are to my side by default, then when I use my hand, it becomes powerful. Just like if my volume is monotone by default, then when I bring it down a little bit, it becomes powerful. I'm going to teach you all this today. By the way, I have a question for you. Have you ever been in front of an audience at a meeting, a training, presentation, and you ask them a question and you get this awkward silence? And yet, I couldn't write fast enough. And it had nothing to do with me. You can do what I just did too, or you won't be able to write fast enough. But why did that happen? Does anybody know? Yeah.
Oh, we had time to collaborate.
You had time to collaborate. What else? It's not just the time. That's important, but it's not just that. If you just do that, it won't work. Mm-hmm. I gave you an assignment. Yep, I had this. What else? That's also important, but it still won't work if you just do that. Yep.
Well, I'm assuming that people here are invested in the topic, and there are times when people will attend things and they aren't necessarily invested.
Oh, did you hear what she said? She said, I'm assuming people here are invested in a topic. What was the question I asked you? It's sitting up there. What's the question I asked you? What makes a confident and credible presentation? Before coming here, I researched with the leaders of this group. What's important to this group? That's what they told me. And I could have just said to you, well, I'm da-da-da-da, and I'm going to just tell you right now what makes a confident and credible presentation because I'm just this and I'm that. But it's not about me. It's about who? You. So here's what you do. Instead of just starting your presentation presenting, you ask a question and get them to write about it, then ask them to tell you what they think. Here's what Carl Jung would say. Carl Jung would say that the things you told me aren't just what make a confident and credible presentation. They're also what you secretly want to know more about. Ooh. This is a recipe for you to tailor your approach to any audience that you have. You just start with a question. Get them to tell you, and by the way, the question should never be something that makes them bad at something or something that they're worried about or fearful, because nobody wants to admit that stuff in public. What you do is you ask them what would make them successful, or what are the amazing things about people who do this well. If I'm presenting on how to develop code, computer programmers, I would say, what are the top 3 traits of an amazing computer programmer? And they're going to tell me. By the way, there's a number of other benefits to this. Make a note, the number 1 need of your audience is to feel safe. Number 1 need. Most presenters are worried about themselves. Jason, I'm so nervous. And they start putting their hands in their pockets like this, or behind their back, or they go T-Rex stance because they're so nervous. And I say to them, Jason, it's not about you. Or I say to them, it's not about you, it's about your audience. They need to feel safe. Did you notice how I made you feel safe? I gave you all a role. The people who don't like speaking, they get to be the timekeeper or the writer. And what's also neat is, did you notice the relayers when you spoke on behalf of your group? You're not speaking on behalf of who? Yourself. Make another note, the number 1 fear of the audience is looking foolish in front of who? Their peers. We're going to follow this workbook pretty closely. I'd like you to turn to page 10 now, and I want you to take 30 quiet seconds, and I want you to do this. I want you to look at the page 10 and write down of this sticky note 3 things, your top 3 list, that if you got these, would make the next 5 hours worth your while coming here today. And if you don't see it on this list, come up with your top 3. I'm going to teach you today things that you've never heard before about how to communicate effectively and present effectively. Why do I know that? Because everything that I'm going to teach you, I created myself. And I used 20 years of research to figure all this stuff out. But I want to know what's meaningful to you. So write down your top 3 now. Is there any way to turn down the heat just a little? Yeah, thanks. Those of you who are finished, let me just make a note to you. I'm going to suggest you have a 70-page workbook in front of you. This workbook is your key to success in also listening to what I'm going to tell you today. I'm going to suggest you take notes the entire presentation. You'll get more out of it. It'll be harder, but you'll get way more out of it. I'm also going to suggest, bottom of page 10, that you review this program a minimum of once per month for 3 months so that you hear it all. I also recommend for some of you that you work with the material at least 1 hour per week for 12 weeks to build a habit, because I'm going to teach you things that if you incorporate these will change your life. It's going to make you more confident and credible in front of everyone you speak with, including not just presentations, but one-on-ones, meetings, all that stuff. And I'm going to start with this. I'm going to show you 5 here, but 15 total strategies that you can use tomorrow to make yourself look more confident and credible in front of your peers, in front of other professionals that you work with.